Let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered why some women walk into a room and without saying a word, every man suddenly notices her? It's not because she's the most beautiful. It's not because she's the one in the shortest dress. It's something much more subtle, much more magnetic. And here's the truth, attraction isn't random, it's created. Today I want to share with you 5 feminine habits that trigger sexual attraction in men. And before you roll your eyes and think, oh, is this about pretending to be someone I'm not? Absolutely not. These habits aren't about playing games. They're about stepping into your feminine energy in a way that naturally pulls men in. There's something magnetic about a woman who carries a playful energy. It's not about being silly, and it's not about performing. It's about embodying a spirit that says, I can enjoy myself no matter where I am. Think of the last time you were around someone who had that spark. The way they laughed easily, the way they teased without malice, the way they made even an ordinary moment feel lighter. That energy is like oxygen in a world where most people are weighed down by stress, self-consciousness, or the need to prove themselves. When a woman brings that energy into an interaction with a man, it lights up something deep inside him. He suddenly feels like life isn't so heavy, and he associates that feeling with her. Playfulness is powerful because it lowers defenses. When two people meet, there's often a layer of tension. Both are wondering how they're being perceived, both trying to manage impressions. But when you introduce a playful comment, a little bit of light teasing, or an unexpected joke, it cuts through all of that noise. It says, I'm not here to impress you, I'm here to enjoy this moment. That's liberating for him, because it gives him permission to relax too. Suddenly, instead of a conversation that feels like an interview, it feels like a dance. That shift is what makes him lean in. It's important to understand that playfulness doesn't mean being the loudest in the room, or trying to be the funny one. In fact, it's much more subtle. It might be the way you playfully challenge him when he says something bold. It could be the way you exaggerate a story just to make him laugh. It could even be as simple as holding eye contact a second longer than usual with a mischievous smile that says, I know something you don't. These little moments of levity create a charge between two people, and that charge is what fuels attraction. Men at their core are drawn to women who make them feel alive. A playful woman communicates without words that life with her won't be dull. She shows that she can turn a walk down the street into an adventure, that she can make a simple coffee date feel like an experience. That is incredibly attractive because men crave not just beauty or intellect, but someone who brings color into their world. When he thinks about you later, it won't just be your looks or your words he remembers, it will be the feeling you gave him. And here's the fascinating part, playfulness is rare. Many people are guarded, many are too focused on impressing, or too afraid of looking foolish. But when you allow yourself to be playful, you're signaling confidence, you're showing that you don't need to control every perception because you're comfortable enough to let go. That freedom is magnetic. It's not about acting childish, it's about embodying a lightness that men can't help but want to be near. There's a reason why the smallest touch can feel like an electric current. Human beings are wired to respond to physical contact, and when it's delivered in just the right way, it becomes one of the most powerful triggers of attraction. Think about it, when you brush past someone in a crowded room, you barely notice it. But when that same light contact comes from someone you're interested in, it lingers in your mind. The difference isn't the touch itself, it's the intention and the emotional charge behind it. For men, a woman who knows how to use subtle, deliberate touch signals comfort, confidence, and intimacy without needing to say a single word. What makes touch so compelling is that it bypasses logic. Words can be analyzed, overthought, or even dismissed, but touch communicates on a primal level. A simple graze of the hand when you're making a point tells him more than a 5-minute speech about how comfortable you feel. It says, I'm open to connection, I'm not afraid of closeness. That signal flips a switch in his brain because it reassures him that the attraction isn't one-sided, it's shared, even if only in that fleeting second. The beauty of subtle touch is in its restraint. It's never heavy-handed, it doesn't need to be dramatic to be effective. Imagine you're sitting across from a man, and as you laugh, your fingers brush his wrist, or when he says something bold, you playfully nudge his shoulder. These are micro gestures, almost invisible to the outside world, but to him they carry weight. They create a sense of intimacy that feels natural, not forced. They make him want to close the gap, to lean closer, to reciprocate. Men often crave physical reassurance far more than they admit. A woman's touch can silence his doubts about whether she's interested. It cuts through uncertainty in a way words sometimes can't. He doesn't need you to say, I like you. That gentle touch already told him. And because it's subtle, it leaves him wanting more. He'll replay the moment in his head later, asking himself if he imagined it, if it meant what he thought it meant. That ambiguity is powerful because it keeps him engaged, keeps him chasing the feeling. But subtle touch isn't just about attraction, it's also about creating safety. A man who feels your comfort in physical proximity feels trusted. That trust makes him more likely to open up, to relax, to show more of himself. The dynamic shifts from two people cautiously circling each other to two people sharing a space of ease. That shared ease is what sparks desire on a deeper level. The truth is, men don't fall for women who bombard them with grand gestures. They fall for the woman who can create sparks in the smallest, quietest moments. And when those sparks come from a touch so light it could be mistaken for nothing, it lingers in his body long after the moment has passed. Confidence is one of the most irresistible qualities a woman can possess, and yet it is also one of the most misunderstood. Many people think confidence means being loud, commanding attention, or dominating every space you walk into. But true feminine confidence is much quieter, much more magnetic. It doesn't scream, it whispers, it doesn't demand, it invites. A woman who embodies this type of confidence communicates something extraordinary without even having to try. She is at home in her own skin, and that energy is intoxicating to a man because it speaks to a level of self-worth that cannot be faked. When a man encounters a woman who is grounded in herself, he feels it instantly. It's in the way she makes eye contact without darting her eyes away in nervousness. It's in the way she doesn't over-explain or apologize for every little thing she says. It's in her ability to sit in silence without feeling the need to fill every gap with words. These subtle cues tell him that she is not desperately seeking approval, and that's exactly what makes him want to give her his attention. Paradoxically, when you don't need validation, you become infinitely more attractive because men are instinctively drawn to women who feel like they bring value to the table just by being themselves. This kind of confidence isn't about perfection. In fact, perfection often works against attraction. A woman who is too polished, too rehearsed, too eager to present herself flawlessly can come across as distant or intimidating. What truly captivates a man is the woman who is unafraid to be real, who can laugh at herself, admit when she doesn't know something, and embrace her quirks without shame. That level of self-acceptance is rare, and it makes a man feel like he can breathe around her. He doesn't have to perform, because she isn't performing either. Feminine confidence also shows up in the way you express your desires and boundaries. A woman who says what she wants without wrapping it in layers of hesitation communicates that she values herself. Imagine the difference between saying, "I guess maybe we could go there if you want," and saying, "I'd love to try that place, it's been on my list for weeks." The latter is not aggressive, it's simply clear, and clarity is attractive because it removes the exhausting guessing game men often feel when trying to figure out what someone actually wants. A man who knows where he stands with you is a man who feels more at ease, leaning into the connection. Another powerful aspect of feminine confidence is how you handle rejection, or rather, how you don't let it define you. When you carry yourself as though your worth remains intact regardless of who notices you, you exude a kind of freedom that men can't help but respect. You're not chasing anyone's attention because you don't need to. Instead, you're open to connection, but not dependent on it. That balance is incredibly rare, and it creates a gravitational pull. At its core, confidence is not about the external, it's about the internal narrative you carry. Do you believe you are enough as you are? Do you believe you bring joy, value, and depth into someone's life just by showing up authentically? When you live from that place, everything else falls into alignment. The way you walk, the way you speak, the way you smile, all of it carries an invisible thread that pulls people toward you. For a man, being around a woman who owns her space without apology is not just attractive, it's unforgettable. Body language is a language all on its own, one that speaks louder than words and communicates in ways the conscious mind doesn't always catch, but the subconscious feels immediately. When a woman masters the art of using her body to express openness, warmth, and intrigue, she taps into one of the deepest, most instinctual triggers of attraction in men. It's fascinating because you can say all the right things, craft the perfect lines, and share clever stories, but if your body language doesn't match the energy you want to convey, the impact will be lost. Men, often without even realizing it, are reading the cues you give off with your eyes, your posture, your gestures, and even the rhythm of your movements. And when those cues align in a way that signals both receptivity and mystery, attraction takes root. There's something undeniably magnetic about the way a woman carries herself when she is expressive. Think of the difference between someone who sits stiffly, arms folded, body angled away, and someone who leans in slightly, who gestures when she speaks, who tilts her head as if to say, "I'm listening and I'm engaged." That openness is a silent invitation. It tells a man that not only is she comfortable in the moment, but she's also comfortable enough to share a piece of herself with him. It dissolves tension and encourages him to step closer into her world. Men crave that signal more than they realize, because it reassures them that their effort to connect isn't one-sided. Eye contact, perhaps the most powerful form of body language, creates a bridge that words can't replicate. A woman who lets her gaze linger just a moment longer than usual creates a jolt of electricity. It's subtle, but it's undeniable. That pause, that extra second of holding his eyes, conveys interest without a single syllable. It makes him feel seen, and being truly seen is a rarity in a world where most interactions are shallow and distracted. Pair that gaze with a gentle smile, or better yet, a mischievous smirk that suggests you know something he doesn't, and you've just communicated more than an entire conversation could. That's the kind of non-verbal cue that keeps him replaying the moment in his mind later, wondering what it meant and wanting more. Movement is another overlooked but incredibly potent part of attraction. The way you walk into a room, the way you sit down, the way your hands move as you tell a story, all of it paints a picture. Men notice these things, even if they don't consciously register them. A woman who moves with fluidity, with a certain rhythm, conveys grace. She doesn't need to rush or fidget, because she's not in a hurry to prove anything. That calm presence radiates confidence, and confidence paired with softness is an irresistible combination. It says, I am in control of myself, but I'm also open to you. Even something as small as tilting your head when you listen can completely change the dynamic of an interaction. It shows attentiveness, curiosity, and receptivity. Men often equate being listened to with being respected, and respect is one of their deepest needs. When your body language reflects genuine engagement, he not only feels valued, but also finds himself drawn closer. And then there's the power of leaning in. Not too much, not aggressively, but just enough to close the gap slightly when he's speaking. That tiny shift sends a subconscious message. I want to be here. I want to hear you. I'm invested in this moment. It creates intimacy without words. Of course, body language is not just about what you do, but also about what you don't do. Restraint plays a huge role in attraction. A glance that ends too quickly loses its power, but one that lingers too long becomes heavy. The magic lies in the balance. The same goes for touch. It should be light and fleeting, leaving him guessing. When you combine expressive openness with just enough mystery, you spark curiosity. And curiosity is the foundation of sustained attraction, because it keeps him wondering what's next, what else you'll reveal, what other unspoken signals he might pick up if he pays closer attention. Another layer of expressive body language lies in mirroring. When you unconsciously match someone's gestures, tone, or rhythm, it creates a sense of harmony. Men notice this even if they can't explain why they suddenly feel more comfortable around you. But when you deliberately choose to break that mirroring in a playful way, like leaning back when he leans in, or raising an eyebrow when he gets too serious, you add a layer of tension that keeps things exciting. It's like a dance. Sometimes you move together, sometimes you pull apart, but the rhythm between you creates an irresistible dynamic. What's truly powerful about expressive body language is that it's not about being dramatic. It's not about putting on a performance or exaggerating every gesture. It's about alignment, making sure your body communicates the same openness, intrigue, and confidence that your words and your energy are already expressing. A woman who says she's interested but avoids eye contact, crosses her arms and angles her body away, creates confusion. But a woman who says little yet allows her eyes, her smile, and her movements to convey warmth and curiosity needs no words at all. Men will always believe what they feel more than what they hear. And then there's stillness. Stillness is one of the most overlooked yet compelling forms of body language. In a world of constant motion, a woman who can pause, who can hold eye contact without fidgeting, who can simply be present in the moment, becomes magnetic. That kind of composure speaks volumes about self-assurance. Men are naturally drawn to it because it contrasts with the frantic energy they often encounter. It makes them want to slow down with you, to savor the moment rather than rush through it. Every gesture, every look, every lean has the potential to deepen connection or diminish it. When used intentionally, expressive body language creates a current of attraction that words can only attempt to match. Men may not consciously analyze why they feel so pulled toward you, but they'll know it. They'll sense it in the way their pulse quickens when you glance at them across the room, in the way their chest feels warmer when you lean just a little closer, in the way they can't stop smiling when your eyes lock with theirs. They'll leave wondering why they can't stop thinking about you, and the answer will lie in the unspoken conversation you held with your body all along. Mystery is one of the most powerful forces in attraction, yet it's also one of the most misunderstood. Many people confuse mystery with manipulation, thinking it means hiding parts of yourself or deliberately playing hard to get. But true mystery is not about deception or withholding. It's about pacing, about allowing someone to discover you gradually rather than unloading everything at once. Men are especially responsive to this because curiosity is hardwired into them. When a man feels there's more to uncover about a woman, he's naturally compelled to keep showing up, to keep leaning in, to keep investing. It's not about games, it's about allowing desire to breathe instead of suffocating it by revealing everything too quickly. Think about it, the most captivating books don't reveal the ending in the first chapter. The most engaging movies don't give away the entire plot in the opening scene. Attraction works the same way. When you meet someone new, there's a natural hunger to know more. If you pour your entire life story onto the table in the first few interactions, you deprive that person of the joy of discovery. But when you share in layers, when you allow pieces of yourself to be revealed at the right moments, you create anticipation. Anticipation is one of the sexiest emotions there is because it keeps the mind engaged long after the interaction is over. Men thrive on the chase, not the chase for someone who is cold or unavailable, but the chase for depth, for layers, for meaning. When you give a man the sense that he has to earn access to different parts of you, you create an atmosphere of value. He doesn't get to know your whole story just because he asked. He gets to know it as you feel comfortable revealing it. That balance communicates confidence and self-respect. It says, my world is rich and complex, and I'll let you into it gradually if you prove you can handle it. That sense of gradual unfolding is intoxicating. Mystery also comes from your ability to hold back just enough in your words and actions to leave room for interpretation. A glance that lingers but doesn't explain itself. A smile that suggests you know something he doesn't. A story that you begin but don't finish right away. These small acts keep a man leaning forward, waiting for more. He's not sure what's coming next, and that uncertainty is thrilling. It's the same principle that makes cliffhangers so effective. They keep us glued to the story because we need to know what happens next. With people, it's even more powerful because it ties directly to desire. But mystery doesn't mean silence. It's not about withholding so much that he feels shut out. It's about revealing enough to connect while holding back enough to intrigue. You might share a passion of yours, but not every detail of how it started or why it matters so deeply. You might tell him about an adventure you've had, but leave out one part of the story until later. That way each new interaction feels like a gift, another chapter he gets to read, another piece of you he gets to understand. What makes mystery so compelling is that it taps into a man's imagination. When you don't reveal everything, his mind fills in the gaps. He wonders what your life is like, what you do when he's not around, what other layers are waiting to be discovered. And because his imagination is engaged, he invests emotionally. He thinks about you when you're not there. He feels compelled to reach out, to spend more time with you, to ask more questions. The more he wonders, the deeper the attraction grows. Mystery is also reinforced by how you live your life outside of him. When a woman has her own passions, her own goals, her own circle of friends, she naturally becomes more intriguing. A man wants to know what drives her, what occupies her time, what lights her up. When you're not always immediately available, not because you're playing a game, but because you're genuinely invested in your own life, you become more desirable. He realizes he has to make an effort to be part of your world, and that effort makes him value you more. Another subtle layer of mystery comes from restraint in communication. In today's world, constant availability has become the norm. Everyone expects instant replies and constant updates. But when you're not glued to your phone, when you take your time to respond because you're genuinely busy living your life, it sends a powerful signal. It shows that while you're interested, you're not desperate. It makes him wonder what you're doing, where you are, who you're with. That wondering fuels attraction. Again, it's not about withholding to manipulate. It's about living a life so full that you're not sitting around waiting for someone else to fill the gaps. Mystery also has an emotional dimension. It's about not laying out your entire emotional landscape in one go. You don't have to share your deepest wounds or your most vulnerable stories right away. In fact, holding those back until trust has been built makes them even more powerful when you finally reveal them. Men respect and cherish what feels earned. When he feels he has earned the right to see deeper into your world, it strengthens the bond and makes him more protective of it. Attraction that burns fast and dies quickly usually comes from giving everything too soon. Attraction that lasts comes from pacing, from layering, from revealing slowly. Mystery ensures that there's always something left to look forward to, always another side to uncover. It creates a rhythm where he feels rewarded for staying close, for paying attention, for investing in you. And that rhythm keeps him engaged long after the initial spark. In the end, mystery is not about hiding who you are. It's about honoring the value of who you are. It's about understanding that you are not a story to be skimmed in one sitting, but a novel to be savored over time. When you embrace that, when you allow a man to discover you in chapters rather than all at once, you don't just trigger attraction, you sustain it. And in a world full of instant gratification, that sustained intrigue is what makes you unforgettable. At the end of the day, attraction isn't about tricks or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about embodying the qualities that naturally draw people in and letting them shine through in small, intentional ways. Playfulness shows him that life with you is joyful and light. Subtle touch bridges the gap between comfort and desire. Confidence reminds him that you are whole and valuable on your own. Expressive body language invites him deeper without a single word, and mystery keeps him coming back, always curious to know more. When you weave these habits together, you don't just catch a man's attention, you hold it. You create not just fleeting sparks but a fire that grows brighter over time. The real power isn't in trying to impress, it's in connecting, in allowing him to feel something profound in your presence. And when you embody these habits, you don't just trigger attraction, you inspire devotion.